Doogie Weeks, everybody. So, as you can see from the video, I've been through a lot in this past year. I've had a lot of interesting experiences, to say the least. But there's one that I want to begin with by speaking to you about and sharing with you. And I kind of fear, though, that if I tell you about it, it's going to make me sound a little strange or a bit out there. But last June, I dreamt about giving this speech. Natalie was there, and someone else was there with me, but in the dream they were a bit blurry, so now I can only assume it was Doogie.
Right.
And I saw all of you there too, but in the dream you were all very puzzled and confused, staring at me. But what makes this dream weird to me was that I dreamt it 2 months before I even found out that I was in end-stage heart and kidney failure. It was 2 months before I spent 70 days in the intensive care unit. It would be 4 months before I was even transplanted, and 10 months before I even sat down to write this speech. However, it was during that 4-month period that I learned how precious life is, and I learned a lot about life. And saying that life is precious, I learned how so many people take life for granted and never slow down and stop and sit there to absorb all the beauties that this world has to offer. And what's great about this venue is that this audience is one of the few groups that I can say this to and not come off as sounding too cliche. Because this audience is filled with recipients, families of recipients, donors, and families of donors. This is one of the select few groups of people that truly and fully appreciate the fragility of life. And I'll be the first to admit, I used to be one of those people. But it sounds kind of weird for me saying that because I had a heart transplant as an infant, as the video showed. But you have to keep in mind, I was a kid at first, and then I was a teenager, and then I was a 20-year-old. And during that entire period of life, I felt like I was invincible, completely untouchable. And it wasn't until I spent the 70 days in the hospital that I realized personally realized how precious life is. And I would realize how precious life is every night that I would go to bed. And with that being said, I want to take this opportunity to speak directly to the donors and the family members of the donors specifically. I want you to know that every night while I was in the hospital, I would go to bed praying to God, practically begging for a new heart and kidney and to be saved. And then I would lie awake for 1, 2, sometimes even 3 hours, feeling absolutely horrible and beating myself up because I just realized that I technically prayed for someone else to die. And what I'm trying to say by explaining this to you is that the recipients never forget. That feeling never leaves us. There is not a single day that goes by where we don't stop whatever we're doing to say thank you. And we either say it in our heads, or sometimes we'll even pause and just say it out loud, because we truly believe that they're listening. And I personally, deep down, believe they are. And I have never met my donor families, so I don't know who my donor is, nor do I even know what they look like. So I want to say this to all of you that are here. And I believe I can speak on behalf of every recipient in this room when I say this. Thank you. Thank you for the life. Thank you for the opportunities. Thank you for stepping outside of yourself during the darkest period of your life to save ours. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. This is definitely a wonderful day. It's very emotional for all of us. You can hear me, can you? Or no? Okay, just want to make sure. First of all, before we move on with our presentations and everything tonight with the raffles and everything that's so exciting, first of all, I want everybody in this room who's an organ recipient to please stand. Anybody who donated an organ, please stand. Anybody who had a loved one pass away and chose to pass on their organs, please stand. Can we all give them a round of applause? They deserve a thank you. Now I'm going to pass the microphone on to Cindy Herbst from the Hope Transplant House, and she's going to talk about that with Shelby Gerbig. Thank you all so much.